Louisiana, a state in the south of the United States, known for its multicultural history, jazz music, and the city of New Orleans. But what many may not know is that this territory once belonged to France. At the beginning of the 19th century, the French sold Louisiana to the USA for just $15 million. To this day, it is considered the largest land deal in history. This doubled the size of the United States at the time and made Western expansion possible, which had a decisive influence on the development of the country in the 19th century. But why did the French sell such a huge area for such a bargain price? It all began in 1682, when the French explorer Robert Cavelier de La Salle explored the area along the Mississippi and named it Louisiana in honor of the French king Louis XIV. At that time, Louisiana covered a vast area, from the Gulf of Mexico to the Great Lakes in the north and from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains in the west. It was not the present-day state of Louisiana, but a huge territory that comprised around 22% of present-day US territory, and thus ran through 15 of the 50 states. The French colonial power quickly recognized how valuable the territory was. It offered access to important waterways, fertile soil, and natural resources. Trade along the Mississippi was particularly important for France, but there were also challenges. The French colony of Louisiana was expensive to administer, and the population remained relatively small compared to other colonies. There were constant disputes with the native peoples, and the growing influence of other European powers, especially Great Britain and Spain, made the situation even more complicated. In 1762, after the end of the 7 Years' War, France lost many of its colonies to Great Britain. In the Peace of Paris of 1763, France ceded the western part of Louisiana to Spain to protect it from the British. For a few decades, part of Louisiana was therefore in Spanish hands, but France never lost interest in this region. The turning point came at the end of the 18th century with the French Revolution, when Napoleon Bonaparte came to power. Napoleon had big plans for France and dreamed of a new colonial empire in the New World. He thought Louisiana would be the key to a strong presence in North America, and wanted to use the territory to expand French influence on the continent. In 1800, Napoleon succeeded in regaining Louisiana from Spain in the Treaty of San Ildefonso. France was once again in possession of this territory, and Napoleon probably wanted to make it an important colony. But what began as a glorious vision quickly developed into a major burden for Napoleon. The challenges in Europe and the colonies grew. France faced an enormous problem. Napoleon fought several wars in Europe, which required not only money but also resources and attention. At the same time, a slave revolt broke out in the Caribbean in the French colony of Saint-Domingue, modern-day Haiti, which seriously threatened French control in the region. The loss of Saint-Domingue, France's most important and profitable colony, made it difficult to realize Louisiana's full potential. Added to this was the geopolitical situation. The United States, which had just gained its independence, was growing rapidly and striving to extend its influence westwards. Access to the Mississippi River and the port of New Orleans was vital to the young American nation, as it was the main artery for trade within the country. It became clear that a conflict between France and the US might be inevitable if France continued to insist on its possession of Louisiana. Napoleon was therefore faced with a difficult decision. He could either try to hold on to Louisiana, which would require enormous military and financial resources, or he could sell the territory to obtain much-needed funds for his wars in Europe. Given the unstable situation and the threat of war, Napoleon decided that selling was the better option. In 1803, Napoleon offered to sell the entire Louisiana territory to the United States. This was an incredible offer for the Americans. President Thomas Jefferson was initially only interested in buying New Orleans and the surrounding areas, but when Napoleon offered the entire territory, it was an opportunity he could not refuse. For $15 million, equivalent to around $272 million today, the United States acquired an area of around 2.1 million square kilometers. Without the Louisiana purchase, the United States would probably never have risen to become a world power. Westward expansion would have remained limited, and there might have been several independent states in what is now America. That's it for today. If you want to know how a small country in the heart of Europe was able to maintain its independence, I can recommend my video about Luxembourg. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Ciao.